right. Good morning, everyone. I am going to get our presentation, our orientation started. I'll continue to admit our attendees as they come in, but I see we have a ton of y'all already here, and that's super exciting. I'm going to jump into a quick presentation to introduce myself, introduce what we're going to be going over today. We're so excited to have you here with us to be a part of such a pivotal part of your Mercer experience, which is your virtual orientation, which will lead to your arrival here so very soon in August, just about a month away. So what I'd like to do is I am going to start with this presentation. So to kick us off, my name is Pablo Valentin. I'm your coordinator of new student programs. And what that means is that I work within the Office of Academic and Advising Services. And as an office, we oversee things like new student orientation, Bare Beginnings, which I'll talk a lot about soon, UNV 101, which is your first year seminar course, another thing we'll talk about before we wrap our summer orientation session up today. But yeah, it's a privilege to be here with y'all. Always exciting to be onboarding another group of new Mercerians into the Mercer family. What I'd like to do now is to kind of give you an overview of the day and talk about some expectations as far as what we're going to be providing to y'all. So right now we're in the kind of the welcome and the overview. From there at 8:40, we're going to jump into health and safety at Mercer University. And the way that will take place is I will introduce our panel, and particularly I will introduce our Dean of Students, Dr. Doug Pearson, and they'll be talking about a range of topics, everything from Title IX to Mercer Police and campus safety, housing and residence life, counseling and psychological services, the Student Health Center. They'll be talking about a lot of different components that impact health and safety and how we handle health and safety here at Mercer University. From there at 9 o'clock, we've got the student Q&A with our orientation leadership team that comprises of a few undergraduate students who actually work for us here in the office throughout the summer. They are coming from a range of different colleges and schools and majors, as well as different social experiences and programs that they're a part of. So they've got a wide range of things to talk about. But to kick that off, we'll actually start with a little video called Bear Talk, which will introduce a lot of the lingo that you'll hear as a Mercer student. So that way you're fully in the know when they're answering your questions. The way we'll handle not only that Q&A, but also at 9:20 is I'm going to ask you all to take advantage of the chat feature. For the student Q&A, I'll be moderating that, so I'll be monitoring the chat and making sure that I'm getting those questions to our student leaders. And then at 9:20, our graduate assistant, Adam Penland, will be here with Mr. Tony Kemp, Associate Vice President of Events and Special Programs, to talk about Mercer academics and also answer a lot of y'all's questions that you might have about the Mercer experience, both within Mercer academics, but outside of it as well. Tony, who serves as my boss, has a wealth of knowledge. He has a rising senior here at Mercer. He also has a student, his son, who's going to be a new student here in the fall with y'all. So he has great wealth of knowledge in regards to what it's like to be a Mercer parent, as well as a professional who works at the university. At 9:40, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Grace Day, who's the coordinator of academic programs, and she will be giving you an overview of your advising appointment, which I'm going to touch on a little bit, but she'll also be giving you some tips and some ideas on how to navigate that conversation. And after that, at 9:50, I will come back again, and we're going to talk about Bare Beginnings. We're going to talk about next steps, whether that's opening days for our students who are joining us on campus, or our commuter programs, our out-of-state programs, what Bare Beginnings is. It's a big 3-day event, so we want to make sure that y'all understand kind of what those expectations are, as well as how we're going to be supporting y'all throughout the fall semester, because it's not just you get here and we send you off. We want to make sure that we're laying a foundation for you to have a very successful career as a Mercerian. So we're with you throughout the entirety of your fall semester in different ways, and we'll touch on all of that. From there at 10 o'clock, all of y'all will be diving into advising appointments. Some of y'all will have them right away. Some of them will be later in the afternoon. So you have some time to kind of venture off. I'm going to send everyone an email with some links on some fun videos that we've created for y'all to check out this afternoon. But that like 10 o'clock window is essentially when this formal part of the Zoom ends, and you all will have the opportunity to join your advising appointments and really just take on the other additional content at your leisure. So your advising appointment, really quick, I want to highlight a couple things. So as your advising time nears, please enter your advisor's Zoom waiting room. Just like if you were here in person, just like when you're attending classes in the fall, we want you to arrive a little early, right? So be there about 5 minutes before, so that way you're prepared. If the advising appointment, let's say you're a 10:30 advising appointment, 10:30 rolls around and you haven't been admitted in the waiting room, there's a good chance the previous advising appointment might be running a little long. So just hang tight, be patient. They're definitely aware of the fact that you're in the waiting room, and they'll make sure they get you squared away. Another thing I love to mention is families, this is an opportunity for students to take ownership over the start of their academic career. So we encourage you to encourage your students to attend their advising appointment themselves. There are no rules around that. You can absolutely attend with them, but we do know that this is kind of a pivotal piece in their academic journey in kind of developing that autonomy. And finally, this isn't the last opportunity for you to dive into the schedule, right? You'll have the opportunity to review your fall 2021 course schedule and adjust accordingly again during Bare Beginnings in August. So make sure that you're diving into your schedule with your, sorry, 1 second, I'm admitting a few more guests here. Make sure you're diving into your schedule with your advisor and that you're doing everything, but know that this isn't the last opportunity you'll get to do that. A thing I want to mention for any of you who might have not received an advising email this morning I sent everyone an email with your personalized advising letter, and on there it'll have things like your college or school and your major, but in addition it will have your advising time, your advisor's name, as well as a link to reach that advisor, or if they prefer to be reached out via email, because some of them won't be meeting with y'all specifically today. All of that information would have been in that email. So the first thing is, if you've already attended in-person orientation in June and you had your advising appointment then, that's going to kind of serve as your summer orientation advising appointment. But again, you'll be able to revisit that schedule during Bare Beginnings in August. I apologize. I'm taking little breaks to just keep admitting our guests as they roll in. The second piece I wanted to mention is, if you indeed did not receive an advising appointment email from me this morning and you have not yet been advised, please reach out to Grace Day. Again, she's our coordinator of academic programs, and Grace can be reached via email at day_gc@mercer.edu. And she is the wonderful person who really coordinates all of these advising appointments for y'all, right? So she'll be able to make sure that she gets you squared away. So it looks like it's 8:41. What I'd like to do now is I'm gonna jump into health and safety with student affairs. But one thing I want to mention, again, if you have any questions throughout the day, definitely reach out to us. You can reach out to us at our orientation phone number, which is 478-301-4300. If not, reach out to us at orientation@mercer.edu. Make sure you're in the chat, kind of letting us know if you have any questions, and we'll jump into that as well. But without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dean Pearson, who is going to be running through a range of topics with y'all. And yeah, so he's going to run through a range of topics with y'all. He's going to cover a lot of fantastic material. So sit tight, give me 1 second, and let's see, I should be back on camera here. I'm going to pause my video for 1 moment. And switch to speaker view. Perfect. I'm going to pause my video for 1 moment and get this queued up so that Dean Pearson can join us. All right.
So to answer these questions today, we have a panel of experts from around the campus, and the format will be that I will ask them the questions that you always ask me, and we will hear directly from them what their response is. So at this time, I'm going to ask the panel to go around and introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Gary Collins. I'm called the Chief of Police at Mercer, among other names that I will not mention. I have been employed at Mercer as chief for almost 37 years.
Hi, I'm Kay Miller, and I'm a nurse at Student Health, and I've been with Mercer for 9 years.
Hi, I am Dr. Emily Piasek, and I'm the Director of Counseling and Psychological Services. We go by CAPS, and I have been Director at Mercer for 12 years now.
Hello, my name is Dr. Christian Wells, and I'm one of the Associate Directors in Housing and Residence Life here at Mercer University.
Hi, I'm Sharon Stellato, the Title IX Coordinator here at Mercer University. I've been here about 2 years. I came from West Virginia University, and we're going to talk about a topic that's pretty important right now.
Thank you, panel. So we're going to begin with the police. Gary, if you could, a lot of parents want to know, is this a safe campus?
Yes, we have a safe campus, but in no way does that imply that nothing ever happens at Mercer. We do have incidents to occur, crime to occur. Most of the crime that occurs on the Mercer campus happens to be property crime, where people have laid stuff out and someone comes along and picks it up, or they may break into a car. Very few crimes against persons where someone is harmed or something. Most of the crimes, property crime, you can replace property, you cannot replace lives.
Gary, thank you. Can you describe a little bit about the Mercer Police operation and what services you provide?
We are a very service-oriented department. We provide jump starts for students and our guests. People lock the keys in the car almost all the time, daily. We try to get the keys back for them. We don't fix flat tires. We'll pump them up and stand by until they can get someone to repair it. But we are very service-oriented. We provide escorts for students coming in at night, maybe parking in a parking lot and want an escort to the residence hall. We encourage that. Call us. We'd rather be proactive than reactive. We are here. We are their police department. We are here for them.
And finally, Gary, if you wouldn't mind, can you talk a little bit about student safety and what students can do to increase their safety on campus?
Students can really greatly increase their campus by relying upon us. If they see anything or anyone strange or suspicious, please call us. Let us confront that individual, find out why they're here, what it is that they think suspicious. Let us find out. We get paid the big bucks for that. You know, we have a rave alert system where if something very dangerous happens on Mercer campus, we send it out. Parents can also choose to be on that rave alert system and they would get the same messages. Go to our IT department's website and sign up for it. Students can put a lot of extra eyes and ears on this campus and help make it safer for themselves and everyone else on campus. And we encourage them to do that. Utilize us, get to know us is more than just a uniform. We're their allies, their friends. Please utilize us.
Thank you, Gary. Now we're going to move on to the health center. Kay, What happens if a student at Mercer University wakes up at night and or during the next day or the next morning and they're not feeling well? What services are provided at the university for that student?
So if they need to contact Student Health, they would call us at 478-301-2696. We'd be glad to schedule them an appointment to see our nurse practitioner. We also have 2 MDs that are here part-time that can assist with seeing patients. We have myself, 2 CMAs, and a receptionist. So we see students for acute illnesses and injuries. We also do women's health. We also do allergy injections after we meet certain protocols. So they would just give us a call. We get them set up for an appointment and get them in and get them seen.
Kay, can you tell the parents, is there a charge for the services that you all provide?
So there is a charge, but they don't pay a charge up front when they come. We don't charge a copay. We bill their insurance. So it's very important that the students have their insurance cards with them, or they have a copy of it or some way to get that so that when they come in, we can keep the process moving along. And the only thing they would pay for up front would be if we do any vaccines. Those they pay for out of pocket. We give them a receipt, they file their insurance. But for the visits to see our providers, we don't bill them up front.
Finally, Kay, where's the health center located?
So we are located at 1327 Stadium Drive. We're in the field house in front of the football field. So it should be pretty easy for us to find, for you to find us. If you can't, just give us a call. We'll help you figure out how to get here. Just want to reiterate, we don't bill students up front. We bill your insurance. Important to have that card with you. Every student is required to have insurance. So if you don't have your own private insurance, then you'll be billed for the Mercer insurance regardless. But if you have your private insurance, you need to make sure that you go online, waive the school insurance, or you will be charged for it. We see you here. We don't have pharmacies on campus, but there are pharmacies locally, and there are several pharmacies that will deliver. You just need to set up an account with them beforehand. Again, just call. We'll be glad to see you, make an appointment. Acute illnesses and injuries. If there's anything we can't handle here, we get you set up with a specialist or provider outside and get that taken care of for you. If you have an emergency situation, you'll definitely want to call MERPO. They can get an ambulance to you and get that taken care of for you.
I'm going to transition now to counseling. Emily, maybe you can answer this question for the parents. College is supposed to be the best time in a student's life. Why would a college student need counseling?
Well, you know, college can be the best time of somebody's life, but as we know that even during the best of our times, life can get hard. And our philosophy at the Counseling Center is that life can get hard, and sometimes you need somebody to talk to that's not a parent, that's not a family member, that's not a friend, and the Counseling Center is a great place to do that.
Thank you, Emily. Tell us a little bit about counseling services at Mercer University, where you're located, what you provide.
So we provide free, confidential, individual, and relational therapy for all enrolled Mercer students. Relational therapy meaning whether that's a partner, a friend, a roommate, a family. We are free, which means that there's no additional fee for our services, and we don't file insurance. You don't have to worry about that. We see students with all sorts of presenting concerns, everything from maybe adjusting to college, anxiety, depression, family issues, eating disorders, suicidal thoughts, you name it. We're seeing it at the Counseling Center. We're able to work with students regarding these issues. We typically see students every other week unless the therapist determines that weekly appointments are needed based on whether there's a crisis or an emergency issue going on. We schedule students by calling. All they need to do is call the Counseling Center to schedule an appointment, and Ashley will help them get the soonest appointment that is available. Our goal at the Counseling Center is to help you be as successful as you can be at Mercer, and so we really want students to be able to come and know that this is a safe place that they can work on those presenting issues. We are located behind the Mary Aaron Porter Residence Hall. We are attached to the back of that building, and our hours are 8:30 to 5, Monday through Friday. There's always a therapist on call for the university if there was an emergency.
And finally, would a parent be notified if their son or daughter is getting counseling?
So first I want to talk about confidentiality and then talk about when we would break confidentiality. Confidentiality means that whatever somebody says in the Counseling Center stays in the Counseling Center, with the exception that if a student tells us or we determine that they are in danger of attempting suicide or homicide, or they tell us about active abuse to a vulnerable person like a child, an elderly person, we have to make sure they are safe or the other person is safe. Confidentiality is of utmost importance in the Counseling Center so students can feel that this is a safe safe place that they can talk about whatever they need to talk about. Now, I know at times that can be really hard for parents because you're concerned, and rightfully so, about your student, and you're going to want to know information about them. In those cases, if your student signs a release form that gives us permission to be able to talk to them, that is one way to do it. Other times, parents will call and just consult with us. They'll talk about a situation and we'll talk about hypotheticals. So if a student comes in and they're talking about these kind of issues like depression, they can't get out of bed, then we'll talk the parent through how we will help students, and as well as referrals to the Macon Mercer community to be able to help with other avenues to assist your student. Confidentiality, as I said, is of utmost importance, but also recognize that if we do have a student that is that we determine is suicidal or homicidal, the CAP staff will do an assessment. And at that point, if we determine that the student needs to go to the hospital for further evaluation, we will then be working with Mercer Police to help get the student to the hospital, as well as with the Dean of Students office, who will follow their protocol to notify family and to work with the student so that they can return to campus once they're healthier and feeling better.
Thank you, Emily. Christian, let's talk a little bit about safety in the residence halls. What do you all do to ensure safety for our students that are living on campus?
Well, first off, we have 52 resident assistants who go through an intensive 2-week training on policy enforcement, how to be a resource, how to put on a program, as well as how to look for different concerns and issues within the residence halls and the buildings. And they also check for safety. And these students are undergraduate students who are just like your students coming in, who are really dedicated to helping your student and kind of being that peer as they enter campus, as well as they go throughout their college campus as well. And so we do have those individuals. With that being said, they also serve on duty each night, and so we do have duty signs posted where after our office is closed, after 5 p.m. or on weekends, students can contact the RA on duty, and the RA on duty can assist them with lockouts. They can assist them if they have some type of crisis or if they're not feeling well. They can always call the RA on duty, and the RA on duty will be able to know who they need to contact and what they need to do next. The RAs also do rounds each night in every single building, so they're just checking for safety, making sure lights are working, making sure doors are closed as well. And so with that being said, we always try to have extra eyes throughout the night and throughout the weekend just to make sure students are being safe. Students also receive a Mercer Bear Card, and with that Bear Card, they're able to access exterior buildings with their Bear Card of their assigned building that they're assigned to. And then they also receive an individual key that will get them only into their room, them and their roommate, so no one else will have access to that besides the RA on duty who has access to a master key, or Mercer Police or our staff that's professional. And so we really want to make sure that students keep their keys on them, that so if they do lose a key, they need to contact us immediately, so that way we can make sure that we keep that safety as well. And then we also have 4 resident directors who are graduate students enrolled in the Masters of Higher Ed program, and they're really there to serve as a resource to help support the resident assistants as well as the students. And so their offices are actually within each of the buildings, and they're spread out because they oversee they oversee several areas. However, they are there to help your students serve on call as well, so if the RAs need assistance, then they can contact them. And then we have 3 area coordinators who are professional staff members who already have obtained their master's degree, and they serve on call as well, along with another assistant director, another associate director, and myself. We all serve on duty, so there's plenty of people that can help your student after hours or throughout the weekend if you're concerned. So we really want to make sure we provide that support for you all.
Thank you, Christian. Also, what are the expectations regarding alcohol possession and consumption in our traditional residence halls on campus?
Well, in our residence halls, apartments and Greek houses, actually, we are a dry campus, meaning that we do not allow any alcohol within our residence halls, Greek houses, or apartments. So it doesn't matter if you're 21 or up, but alcohol is not allowed within the residence hall. The only time that it is going to be allowed is going to be during those tailgate periods that are specified on the website. So, so if your daughter or son turns 21 and we find alcohol, then we will document it, and then we will also have to send it to student conduct. So it's really important to make sure that they understand that alcohol and drugs are not allowed on campus.
Thank you, Christian. We're going to transition now into the tough topic of sexual assault. If you've been following the media or the reports across the country, you'll know that sexual assault is a very serious and tough topic that institutions wrestle with, and they should. It is a very, very serious violation of our student code of conduct. So we have a Title IX coordinator, and Sharon, maybe we can begin with saying what is Title IX and what falls under Title IX?
Sure. So Title IX is a federal law that makes it illegal to discriminate against students or employees on the basis of sex. And that includes any federally funded program or activity here at the university. So when we talk about that, what we're really looking at is sexual harassment and everything that falls under that. That includes sexual assault. Obviously, non-consensual sexual assault could be contact or it could be intercourse. We look at stalking, and we look at something called intimate partner violence, which most people know as kind of dating or domestic violence. Those are the big ones that really fall under Title IX right now.
Thank you. Sharon, if a student is involved in a Title IX situation, what resources does the university provide to that student?
So if a student is involved on either side of a complaint that comes in, we offer multiple resources. We do no contact directives. We can help change class schedules. We can help change housing assignments, making it so that the people don't have to see each other here on campus when it's uncomfortable. We can also help with counseling, referring students to counseling, and then helping them report criminally if they'd like that.
And finally, Sharon, how does a student file a Title IX violation with Mercer University?
They can contact me directly, and we'll schedule a meeting to get them to come in and sit down and talk about things, and they can reach me by phone or by email.
Thank you, Sharon. I hope this was helpful and provides you all as parents a better understanding of some of the things that Mercer University does to safeguard our students. Hopefully gives you a good understanding of some of the services, the counseling, the health center services that we provide to students, and some of how we deal with conduct issues, which is kind of what I want to segue into next, which is to talk about the Student Code of Conduct. The Student Code of Conduct is a set of rules and regulations that guide students' behavior at Mercer University. It's important that you go over this document with your sons and daughters. There are some things they can do that can lead to a suspension at Mercer University. Some of those things include, but are not limited to the following. Weapons. If they bring a gun to campus, that is a very serious violation of our Student Code of Conduct. I know we have a lot of hunters out there and people that may have weapons for self-protection. You can't keep those. You can't put them in your closet. You can't keep them in your car. If you bring it to campus, your best bet is to turn it into Mercer Police. Otherwise, it's a violation of our Student Code of Conduct. Illegal drug use and dealing. If a student brings illegal drugs or is caught dealing on our campus, there's a good chance that they will be sent home. We don't tolerate illegal drug use on the campus. Physical and sexual assault. Very serious violations of our Student Code of Conduct and things that could lead to a student being separated from the institution. And finally, fire safety. And we do not tolerate students who engage in behavior that threatens our other students in our campus.
All right, so you can already see in the corner one of our members of our panel, but we're getting ready to transition now to our student Q&A with the orientation leadership team. I encourage you all to take advantage of the chat, ask questions. I'm going to be sitting here moderating and really just conversing with some members of our orientation leadership team. So I'll turn it over to them in a second, and they will begin to introduce themselves. So as we prepare to get that ready, give me 1 second. Oh, there we go. Now they're in it. All righty. So again, I encourage y'all, I'm going to come off to the side, but let's start by having our orientation leadership team. Y'all can introduce yourselves.
I'm Krista. I'm a senior biomedical engineering major.
Hi, I'm Harsh. I'm a junior biomedical engineering major.
And I'm Allie. I'm a senior and I'm a graphic design major.
So as y'all can tell, we have a nice mix of majors, but it doesn't even begin to scratch the surface of like the mix of majors that we have amongst our entire peer advisor team that y'all will meet when you get here for Bare Beginnings. But I can say that of all of the team that we have, I couldn't think of 3 better individuals to be answering y'all's questions. So again, I want y'all to take advantage of the chat and be reaching out if you have any questions. But in the meantime, I've gotten some frequently asked questions that we get a lot of times during orientations. So I'm going to kick that off. And the first question I'd like to ask y'all is a pretty easy one, I guess, which is, what has been your favorite thing about your Mercer experience thus far?
Okay, I got it. So for me, my classes are all very small, like 10 to 20 people. And like I'm on a first name basis with my teachers and like I've gotten to know them really well. And the people that are in my classes, it's not very like it's very personable. And like my advisor is one of my teachers. And you just kind of like get to know them really well. And that's made like a college experience a lot easier. And like when you see them around campus, you're like, oh my gosh, those are my best friends. And like you're always with them. And then like you have classes in different colleges. Like I have some classes in CLAS, but I also have some classes in the business school. So you get to know like different groups of students really well.
Awesome.
For me, it was probably just like all the social things that Mercer hosts. So we do a lot of like football game activities and like basketball game activities. When our men's team went to the SoCon champ, they set up like a viewing party in Mercer Village. So that was really fun to do. And it's just like Mercer really tries to get you involved with campus and like with other students. So that's probably my favorite part and experiences.
For me, it's definitely been the more cooperative kind of environment that we have here. In a lot of my classes, a lot of the students, we kind of work together on problems. We like do study groups and stuff like that. It's a very like non-competitive nature. We're all just trying to help each other, get those grades, get that degree. And it's been a nice change from how my high school was. So that's definitely the part I appreciate the most about Mercer University.
All right. Thank you so much. So speaking of getting those grades, right? How do you balance school and co-curriculars and a social life? Because we all know that like college is much more than just going to class, right? There are a lot of components involved. So yeah, how have y'all been able to kind of strike a balance and be the successful students that y'all are?
I'll start on this one. So I'm a not very planner person, so I don't really like write things down. So basically I make a mental list at like the start of the day and I keep running through it until eventually I've exhausted it and have struck everything off. When it comes to like finding that balance, a lot of it is like learning your tolerances and learning like how much you can give to something and how much is really worth it to you. Because you might find that when you come to college that like, oh, maybe I don't like going out to events like this as much, or maybe I can study a little less for this class and still do just as well. So a lot of it will come down to like learning how much you can give and take from different activities to truly manage all of those things.
And then for me, I make sure that like I plan to like get dinner with my friends. Like if I've had a long day of studying, like you still have to eat. So like make sure you still take those breaks and you might as well go to Chick-fil-A with your friends or go to the cafe with your friends. Or one thing that I really like to do, since I'm a graphic design major, I like to design outside, or I'll like take my sketchbook outside. And then like as people are walking to classes, they'll see you. So usually I sit on like the tables around crews, or I like take a picnic blanket out on crews. And so you'll see people as they're walking by, they might come by and chat with you for a second, instead of just staying cooped up in your dorm or like in a study room in the library. So that's how I kind of balance both.
For me, a lot of the social aspect also comes with like extracurriculars. So like I do pre-engineering or pre-health clubs and engineering clubs. So that kind of also mixes in with your social life because classes are so small, you keep seeing those people. And so I kind of hang out with them and we kind of just like talk and stuff. And then I have a planner. I'm the exact opposite of Harsh. I plan out everything to the hour, to the minute. So that helps me stay organized and like know, oh, at 9 o'clock, I have to do this and this. And so, yeah.
Nice. Well, that's the perfect segue to like, how do you join different clubs and organizations at Mercer, and what have y'all's experiences been like? Of course, without mentioning specifics, because our PA team practices disaffiliation, so that way they kind of tell you what they're involved in without telling you exactly what it is. So yeah, how do y'all join clubs at Mercer?
So at Bear Beginnings, we'll have a bear fair. I believe it's in the University Center, and it'll just be like tables filled with, or like the whole courts are filled with tables of different organizations and clubs, whether that be like pre-health, engineering, business, sorority and fraternity programs. And you can just kind of go around and see what they're like and like which ones you're interested in and like if they apply to you. And so that's a great way to get started. Another one are we get weekly emails about just like what clubs are doing on campus. So I always see about like the ballroom dancing club or like the knitting club. And so you can kind of do it from there and join from there. And then your peer advisor would kind of help you like figure out what you want to do and see if like there are any clubs applicable to you. And if not, you can start your own club. So yeah.
We do also have all of them listed on our website, and they are categorized kind of by like, if you're looking for specifically a religious organization or like a pre-academic type of organization. We do have them, and we have over 100 different organizations on campus available for you guys. And as Krista said, if there's one that you'd like to start, we do have those facilities available to you.
And also most of our organizations have like a social media account that you can follow. I also remember at my Bear Fair that many of them you could sign up for their personal email list, and that was like a good way to like make sure that you were getting their information, their specific information. And yeah, they're just always around campus. There's always events going on, so it's kind of hard to miss.
Nice. So we've talked about school. We've talked about balancing school. We've talked about kind of those co-curricular activities. Now let's talk about food. What are y'all's favorite places to eat on campus?
Panda Express is the best. I don't care what people say.
I'm with Krista on that. It's
You
cheap
get-
and it's good food.
Yeah, you get a bowl and you get 2 entrees. Like I always do noodles and orange chicken, but like my friends are vegetarian, so they do like the noodles and the spring rolls. You get a great variety. You can switch it up. Chick-fil-A. It also takes forever to get. So
My favorite is Einstein's, because they're like open all the time. Like I think they're open with the library hours, so they're open till midnight. And like my favorite thing is to go in there at like 11:30 and get a bagel. But I don't know, they're always great. And like all the workers on campus are super great, and they're always so nice. So and you get to know them.
yeah, sophomore year I went to Einstein so much that the girl knows my name. She doesn't even have to ask. She's like,
Yeah.
"What's up, Chris?" And I'm like, "Hey."
All right. So I agree with both of those. Those are great options.
Which is good too. Let's not forget
Yeah,
Which.
True.
But
It's one of those things where I think there's so many great options on campus that it's tough to remember them all, which is a great problem to have. But with all of those options, thinking particularly to a first year meal plan, like does that meal plan apply to every place on campus, or does it just apply to like the cafeteria?
It applies ever. So you have currently like the ultimate meal plan, unlimited,
plus,
yeah, something
unlimited.
like that. So what that means is you can swipe into the caf and the farm as many times as you want. They won't cap you on that. Then you have 10 meal exchanges. So that means you can go to Panda Express, Chick-fil-A,
ooh, I think it's 14.
or 14.
Yeah, on the
excuse me.
plus, it's 14.
On the plus it's 14, on the not plus it's 10. So you can go to like the restaurants on campus 10 times and like exchange it out. It refills every Wednesday
Yeah,
at like
Tuesday night or something?
midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah, something
Wednesday
like
night,
that.
something like
So if you go through those 10 in the week, Wednesday it'll re-hit. So that way, like next time, so that way the following week you'll have enough. If you're nice to the workers, they might not charge you.
Yeah.
I've had that happen to me.
You also, I think, have dining. Do you have dining?
Yeah,
dollars
Yeah,
on
you
that?
get a-
$100
so-
$70.
Yeah, dining dollars are just like fake money, or not fake money because you're paying for the meal plan, but it's essentially just like money you can spend at restaurants or like the Pod, which is like our grocery store on campus, and say like they sell cookie dough. So let's say I wanted cookie dough. I can just go to the Pod, grab some cookie dough, and instead of using like cash or like my debit card, I can just use like dining dollars, which is like already loaded onto your meal plan.
Also, pro tip, freshman year, what I did a lot and what a lot of freshmen do here is at the farm, they sell cookies. And so like you can literally swipe in to go to the farm and go grab a cookie. Don't eat it there and just take it and leave. And you can do that at the caf as well. Like if you want ice cream, they have ice cream every day. You can just go in, get ice cream and leave, because like it's still one meal swipe and you have unlimited. So it doesn't matter how much you eat in there at one time.
Also, be a good friend. Swipe in your upperclassmate.
We're,
that's allowed,
we're not gonna do that.
Don't do that, but
Oh, last thing to note, those dining dollars you have, so you do get 400 like your fall and 400 your spring. They do roll over from the fall to the spring semester, but like that spring to summer to the next fall, they do expire. So keep that in mind when you're spending them. So yeah, if you need to buy 300 Hershey's bars in the spring semester, I mean, go for it. I'm gonna give away anyway.
one of my O groupers had so much dining dollars left that he bought like cases of drinks and like food that they had to give him a cart, and he like rolled it
Wow.
to his house. And I was like, all right.
That's wild. Yeah, so be strategic with your meal plan, but also take
Don't
advantage of the
overspend.
unlimited. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, don't be afraid to just go in and grab a cookie if that's what you want to do. All right, so that's on campus. Let's talk about the many amazing off-campus options, right? Which for some you can use Bear Bucks, for some you can't. But like, what are some of y'all's favorite Macon eateries that you've been able to experience over the years?
One, Ocmulgee Brew Pub, best one at Macon. People will say the Rookery, that one's fine. Ocmulgee Brew Pub has really good food, and it's also like a really cool atmosphere because it used to be like I don't know what it used to be. My dad told me once, and I wasn't paying attention. But it's like open windows and it's all white, so like it's like an open floor construct, so you can just kind of like see everyone, and it's so pretty. And they have a projector, so during like March Madness or like football season, they'll like play games on there, so it's really fun. And then their burgers are delicious. They win Burger Week every week or every year. Excuse me. And Burger Week is just like where the burger joints of Macon, because there's a lot, will make like a signature burger for that week. And then judges will like go to every place and be like, Ocmulgee, you have the best burger. You win Burger Week. It's really good.
Some of my favorite places are actually like walking distance from campus, like literally like a 5 to 10 minute walk. So we have places in Mercer Village that's right, it's kind of like in campus, but not campus. We have lofts that sit over them. But I really I go to Margaritas and Jags a lot. They're two of my favorite places. Jags is a pizza place and Margaritas is like a Mexican style place. And then also I go to Osaka. It's not in Mercer Village, but it's right across the street from campus. Probably takes like 10 to 15 minutes depending on where you live on campus. But Osaka is like a sushi and hibachi place, and it's literally amazing.
Harsh.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna, I guess, put some of your business out there. Like Harsh is one of our commuter students, who is a peer advisor. Do you find yourself when you're looking for a meal, like what's that experience like for you as a commuter student? Because I know we have some in attendance today at orientation.
So when you're a commuter student, one of the nice things, I guess, economically, is you don't have to be on a meal plan if you don't want to be. And even then, like if you're a freshman, you're like, oh, I do want a meal plan. There is a commuter specific meal plan. It's pretty like stripped down compared to what the unlimited is. But honestly, like for people who are commuting, you'll come to learn that it's pretty much exactly what you need. So if you do want something more consistent, you can go ahead and use like the Mercer provided meal plan. Or what you can do is kind of just like use a debit card or a credit card to purchase. Now, I will say, one thing I did have to learn is that they don't take Amex here, or I'm not sure about Discover, but they definitely don't take Amex, and that was the only card I have. So they definitely take Visa. So if you have a Visa card, you're set. When it comes to like buying things like on campus, but when it comes to off campus, obviously you can use whatever. But for me, I usually went to Panda Express pretty much every day my freshman year because it was like cheap and it was a solid amount of food. It was like $6.74 for the bowl because I bought it so much. I just remembered the price. But yeah, it was kind of just what I was feeling that day. Another advantage since we're commuters, you can bring food from home totally, or like bring a protein shake with you. So I guess that's one of the advantages, the few that there are of being a commuter student, that you can kind of flex around whatever you want to do.
So speaking of all this food, it needs to be paid for, right? So let's talk about campus employment, right? What are some of the cool jobs that either you've had or maybe some of y'all's friends have had, and what's the experience like getting an on-campus job?
I'm a chemistry TA, so like if you take Gen Chem 1 or 2, like you'll have someone in your labs who like help assist and make sure you don't mess anything up. That's what I do, and so that is a minimum wage job. I think most on-campus jobs are minimum wage unless you have like work studies, which is a federal aid thing. It's fun. I really liked it. You do have to take Gen Chem 1 and Gen Chem 2, so that means you have to be a sophomore to do it. But it's really interesting to like just see the classes and see how people do in labs. And then I think I got a quarter raise every year. So I think actually now I'm making 75 whole. Yeah. So, but that's a really fun one. Also something to look forward to if you want to do that, or if you're like a chemistry major or interested in chemistry. So yeah.
Two of the jobs I've had, I work with admissions as well. So like the people who will give you tours. Back when we did residence hall, like night over things, they used to do that. So basically the face of the people you see anytime you come to a Mercer event. So that is something you can get into as a freshman. You will be training basically your first semester. And then from there on, you can get on like the tour schedule and stuff like that. So if that's something you'd be interested in, you can start as a freshman. Similar to ChemTAs, we do get a quarter raise every year. And as a bonus, after your first year, you do get a nice little jacket that you get to keep. The other job I've had was I was an SI, or a supplemental instructor. So courses you'll come to learn like your general chemistry 1 and 2, organic 1, physics and economics, I believe. Those classes will have a student who has previously taken the class and done well. And what they do is for 3 hours a week after class, they'll host a review session to kind of like go back over what the teachers already taught. And when it comes to tests, they'll do like a 2-hour review block. And so that is a paid position. So if you're someone who doesn't maybe want to do like physical labor or something like that, you prefer to kind of just stay on like that tutoring side, it is a pretty good deal. And it does make a little bit more than some of like the minimum wage jobs that we work. And your pay is kind of more fixed. Like you'll know exactly how much you're getting every 2 weeks. But yeah, those are 2 of the jobs that I've worked on campus.
And then Krista and I actually both work Bear Force, which is in the university center. We work at like the main desk, the fitness center desk, and the box office. And then you also work like football games and basketball games, and you're kind of just like an usher or a ticket taker. That job is also minimum wage. It's pretty chill. Like our bosses let us do homework while we're sitting at the desk, and you pretty much just help if there's visitors coming, if they have questions, or you have to like regulate the people who come into the gym, make sure they're students, and then you clean the gym to make sure it's nice and clean. And then something else that I've like wanted to do, but I've never done because I don't know. The Cluster is our newspaper, and they actually hire you. It's not just a volunteer thing, which a lot of people don't know this, but I think it's minimum wage unless you're an editor, but you can actually like work for the Cluster, and you can do freelance as well. So if you would like to write an article or design a spread, they will pay you per issue and per page. But all student employment is online. Just look up Mercer Student Employment, and you can find everything and anything that Mercer has to offer. Most offices have internship spots that might be paid, might not be paid. I've also had an unpaid internship within the Office of Academic and Advising Services. It was great, still going. So yeah, everything's online that you can apply for.
Perfect. Well, thank you all so very much. This is, again, a couple members of our orientation leadership team who are a part of the greater peer advisor team. And when y'all get here in August, they're going to be the group that's really guiding you through your first semester, right? So make sure you remember Krista, Harsh, Allie. You'll be seeing them again when you arrive for Bare Beginnings in the fall. And I want to say thank y'all to you three. We're going to get ready and now transition over to our next presentation. So without further ado, I'm going to put up this slide, and we're going to get ready. We're going to get ready for that next piece. So give me 1 second. Thank you all so very much. All right, so I am very excited to be introducing our next presenters. So next up we have Mr. Tony Kemp and Mr. Adam Penland. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves and get jumped into the Q&A. Again, please take advantage of the chat feature. Make sure you're asking your questions. If the chat's a little slow, and that's absolutely fine, don't worry. We've prepared. We've got a lot of our frequently asked questions. So we'll make sure that either way, we're productively using this time and getting y'all the information that you need. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to them. Thank you guys so much.
Great, thanks. I'll go first. Hey everyone, my name is Adam Penland. I'm the graduate assistant for academic and advising services. So that means I'm working on a master's program here at Mercer, but I did graduate from Mercer in May of 2020. So hopefully I can answer any questions that you have from not only a student side, but also a professional side.
Yeah, and hi, my name is Tony Kemp, and I'm the Associate Vice President for Events and Special Programs, which basically means that I get to do a lot of fun stuff at Mercer and some not so fun sometimes. But I work a lot with obviously academic and advising services and have done that since I came to Mercer really. And then work with other programs like Commencement, for example. As well. So it's great to be here. I want to echo what Pablo mentioned earlier. Please, now is the time. We want to help you be as prepared as you can possibly be about this experience. And so if you've got specific questions, family members, students, please throw those into the chat so that we can answer as much as we can in the time that we have with you today. Yeah.
Well, awesome. I think I see our first one. So how are high school classes going to be different than college classes?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get to work with a lot of students and family members in different ways, phone calls, meetings, coming into the office. And sometimes students have difficulty thinking, oh my gosh, what I did in high school worked. And I was making great grades and, I had this system. And sometimes that does not translate, to a college classroom. Yeah. And so it may take kind of more studying and much more studying, and maybe sometimes even in different ways. And, I know, I think our orientation leadership team hinted at this before, but, you may not know that until you get here and get into kind of some of the classes, that you're taking. But we have got things here to help you prepare and kind of do better at any of that. And, and again, I know OLT mentioned some of those things, but we've got a pretty comprehensive program in terms of the support and, that the Academic Resource Center, which is offering, an abundance of workshops and individual tutoring, and you heard about supplemental instruction, things that are already hooked to some of the classes that you're going to be taking. And so it really is sometimes difficult not to take advantage, of those things. And you really have to, because those types of things in a college setting can really make the difference, between letter grades, understanding, doing well on tests and midterms or papers. And so you just really have to take advantage of those things. And I also encourage students, you can't wait on that. You cannot wait until you feel like you have no clue what is happening around you. And Adam, I don't know, if you think about way back now.
Yeah, exactly.
When you were a first year student and kind of how what was that feeling like in some of those classrooms? Do you have ideas?
One of the biggest transitions from college to high school is you no longer have an 8 a.m. to 3
Yeah.
p.m. schedule every
Yeah.
single day where you're doing something.
Mhm.
You have a lot more free time. You get to like make your own schedule. And my first semester, I found it easy to take a nap in between my 11 a.m. class and my 1 p.m. class. I thought, oh, I've got 2 or 3 hours. I'm just going to nap. And it's important to like, you use your time wisely and be like, oh, I think I'm going to study instead of take a nap. I've got a quiz for that class. I don't know if I get all the concepts, understand everything. So it's just important to like manage your time very wisely and know, absolutely take time to rest and catch up on sleep and whatnot, but also use that time to study and go to the SI sessions and some of our tutoring sessions in the ARC. But those are great options to for help.
I am all about napping. Okay, I love a nap. Not during the workday, but yes, I get it. But yeah, working with faculty is also another thing. That I don't know initially that our students take as much advantage of that as they should. Hopefully coming to a place like Mercer, you are going to have a different kind of relationship with your faculty members. And that's what Mercer is about. And we want that. And so it should not be that you are worried about bothering your faculty or embarrassed or not wanting to connect with them in some way, but it is really important that you let them know kind of what is going on with you as well, because they could have incredible tips. I mean, nobody knows the classroom material better than them, and,
The
and
one
so
teaching
that's
it.
exactly right. And so let them help you as well.
Awesome. So we've got another really good question, and it's, if I had an IEP or a 504 plan in high school, does this automatically get sent to the college? Does it translate over? How does that work?
Yeah, it is very different in a college setting. I mean, we certainly have, and we want you, if you have a documented disability of any kind, learning, mobility, any of those things, then we really encourage you to connect with our Office of Access and Accommodations. And you can do that initially. It's all done online. You can make sure, just go again, type in the search engine on the Mercer webpage, Access and Accommodations. And you can go right to the page. And basically you're signing up. And yes, it's going to take some medical documentation that you're going to have to submit. But I will tell you, it can really make an incredible difference. If you need additional help in classes of any kind. I have talked to students who are like, look, I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want people to know. I don't want to be labeled, like that. And I certainly get that. And I will honor and respect, what you'd like to do as a student. But I can't tell you how many times I've seen it make a difference, with students. And so it might just mean something as simple as, I need a little extra time on test. And so if those things are on file, and you're working with your faculty members, then it can happen. So please take advantage of that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So another good question that we've got is, what is FERPA and how does it affect me?
FERPA, yeah, it's a great thing. It sounds like a disease, but it's really not. So there's basically the short of it is there's a federal guideline that says students kind of in a college setting who are 18 or older, have or have access to their student records. And this is when it comes to the academic side of the house, as well as the like the financial aspects as well. And so And that's really different, and I know as a parent, I'm used to having those kinds of things. Those things are coming from the school. I get announcements about what's going on and how grades are submitted. And that doesn't happen in college. But if you students want to grant permission to family members, a parent, a grandparent, a guardian, whoever that may be, then there's basically a form, to do that. And so you fill that out, and then if that person calls or comes in, then we could talk specifics about what is going on, in the class or the situation. But I will tell you, even without those releases on file, we can still talk about getting academic help. We can still talk about deadlines and when advising starts and how all of that works. So even without giving, specific student information, sometimes it's really good just to know when all of those kinds of things, are happening as well, because that can make a difference.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, this one is more based toward classes and what programs we'll be using, but are there any online platforms that we will be using as students for our classes?
Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm sure all of you know this too, because of what you've had to do, in your high school settings or, homeschool settings too. That has changed even in the past year, gotten stronger, more vibrant. Mercer uses a software system called Canvas, and that is basically kind of every class will have a Canvas account attached to it. Some faculty members use Canvas more than others, actively use it. I know I've enjoyed kind of my experience with that and have actually gotten better with that, I think, over the years, with using it. And it's really a place that you can, in some cases, submit work, find additional details. There may be some times where you would have Zoom meetings, or we also use a software product, Echo 360, which is what you might hear thrown around. So lots of those kinds of things happening. The neat thing is that our peer advisors, I know, will spend some time with students during Bare Beginnings in a technology session, because it really is overwhelming, when you're kind of trying to get used to it. And there are lots of things that you need to click and know and set up the settings. And it just takes some playing around with that. I tell my students all the time, who are kind of looking into that, you're not going to break it. Okay. So you might as well go in and, start looking at that, just so you can become more familiar. We're also doing a lot more, and all of you know this as well, with My Mercer. So My Mercer is a great tool that you'll continue to use, through graduation too, that'll give you information, and you'll go and you'll register and find other kinds of things that you need to be successful.
Well, and one of the things that I like so much about Canvas, and you mentioned like getting in with it and playing with it and whatnot, is you can go, that's where your professors will post your grades. Well, they've got it where you can test different grade options for assignments that you haven't submitted yet. So you have a better idea of, oh, if I want to keep an A in the class, I need to make a 90 on this paper, or 82 on this test, different things. So again, go in and play with it, because Canvas is a really, really good option for like just figuring out and knowing as much as you can about the class. And the more you know about Canvas, the more you'll know about the class.
Yeah, that what if feature is fun.
So I'm sure that y'all have talked a little bit about the peer advisor team and what they do. So I'm going to ask this next question, and it's, how do the peer advisors work with the academic advisors and help prepare us throughout the semester?
Yeah, that's a great thing too. I am so proud of our entire team, and kind of our office and the way we have those things set up. So we have a core group of incredible upper class students, so sophomores through seniors. And you met 3 of them a little earlier, and you'll meet many more of them during Bare Beginnings. They're actually going to be paired and working with small groups of all of our first-year students. And they're going to be assigned to a University 101 class, which all of you will be taking. And during that time, you also have a faculty member who's going to be teaching that class. And that person's going to be your academic advisor for at least a semester, maybe 2 semesters, or possibly a little bit longer than that as well. And so they're going to be working with you in conjunction to kind of make sure that things are going well. And they're going to see you every week for your first semester. And I can't tell you what an incredible thing that is to really help you kind of through that first semester and ease more into that transition. And you're actually going to start working with them before classes start. So during Bare Beginnings, you'll meet your advisor, you'll work with your advisor, and you'll do a lot with your peer advisor, your PA. So it's a great group, and I know they're excited, to start working with you as well. Yeah.
Yep. And so I was very fortunate to serve on the peer advisor team for 3 years while I was an undergrad. And you make some really, really good friends in your O group, and it sets you up with that foundation to have a group of friends for your first day of class. So you're not like, oh, I don't know anybody, I don't know where I'm going. You see each other with your peer advisor. You get to take a classroom schedule tour, and that's what I think is cool is your peer advisor takes your classroom schedule and says, let's walk to these classrooms so you know how to get here on the first day of class. So you make a lot of different traditions, make a lot of different friends in your O group with your peer advisor and academic advisor. So that's something to definitely look forward to when you come in the fall.
I know we're running out of time, and I want you to know that we're here for you. So if you need answers to questions, please call, write, whatever you need to do. I mean, that is exactly what we want to be doing with you and for you. We want it to be an incredible experience, and know it can, but we want you to take advantage of kind of what's there and all of the programs and services that are here on campus. Again, we've designed them for you, and so they're not going to work unless you take advantage of those things. So thanks again for being here. I think we're out of time.
Yeah, I think that is
what that
for
is.
us.
Pablo, what do you think?
Yeah, I think we're right on time, which
Okay.
is exactly what we were hoping for. Again, thank you all so very much. For all of our guests here, we're going to transition now to advising appointment overview and tips with Ms. Grace Day. But again, thank you, Tony. Thank you, Adam. Always a pleasure.
Great. Thanks.
All right. And a little bright on the screen. I apologize, Grace, but everyone, this is our coordinator of academic programs, Grace Day. We're excited to have her joining us to give you an advising appointment overview and share some tips on what to expect and how to navigate this pivotal experience. So over to you, Grace.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. As Pablo said, my name is Grace Day. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what to expect in your advising appointments today, as well as some tips and maybe some things you might want to keep in mind. So for starters, I'm very sorry. I'm very pale. So look, you can't see me. So for example, for starters, you only have 20 minutes. So please know that during this 20-minute overview, you may not be able to get every single question you have answered, and it may not be able to go as super in depth, but in order to make sure we get everyone an advising appointment today and we get everyone to be able to look over their schedules, you will have 20 minutes. The person you're going to meet with is an academic advisor from your college or school. but they will not be necessarily your academic advisor when you get here in the fall. So don't worry if this is not the only person you will be meeting with. This is a great time that you're gonna be able to go over your schedule, ask questions that you may have, and talk about like what are some things that are on your schedule. If there's a little bit of room to play and change things around, your advisor will generally be happy to do that for you. Full disclosure, we don't have a whole lot of seats in every class, so there's not as much room to play. We have the great problem of having quite a few incoming first-year students this year. So by the time August rolls around and AP credits come in, we will see a little bit more flexibility and movability with classes, which brings me to my last point. Sorry, not my last point, my next point. That this is not the last time that you will have to look over your schedule and ask any questions. When you get here for Bare Beginnings in August, you will have the opportunity to meet with your actual academic advisor, who will also be your UNV 101 instructor, and you will be able to go over your full schedule, ask your questions, and that will be a good time to make any last minute changes you want. So if you want to switch out a general education course, that will be the time to do it. When you do go into your advising appointment, the first thing your advisor is going to do is show you your schedule and kind of walk you through how everything counts into your major and your degree plan. You may notice that you'll have a lot of general education courses. That's because as a first year student, a lot of your major classes you won't be able to access just yet. So for example, if you're interested in being a bio major, you actually can't start taking bio classes until you go through the first 2 chemistry courses, or the first 1 chemistry course. So you'll start that chemistry sequence in the fall, as long as you have a math index of Math 191 or above, which we have been sending you emails about your math index and your math placement, but you can also ask your advisor about that when you get into the advising appointment. You should make sure you have between 14 and 17 credits on there. That 12 is full time. We recommend 14 to 17 in order to maintain a 4-year graduation rate. So you're going to want to make sure you have that many classes on there, / that many credits. This is a great time for students to really realize that you are in the driver's seat of your academic plan and your academic life. So as much as we love parents, we're really going to encourage you to allow your student to take this appointment on solo. We love parents and we love working with you all, but we really want this to be an opportunity for the student to kind of start building those relationships with faculty and staff, ask their questions, and realize that they are in the driver's seat. But of course, you are welcome to join. Just know that this is your student's academic advising appointment. So we will do most of the talking with your student. I know Tony and Adam, did they talk about FERPA? They talked a little bit about FERPA. So when your student does attend Mercer, we will not be able to give you an understanding of their grades or talk to you about their grades or their schedule unless they sign a FERPA release. So this is a good time for your student to kind of get to realize asking the questions and what I should be looking for and what do I want to do with my college plan. You should also make sure that you have a UNV 101 course on your schedule. Your UNV 101 course corresponds with your orientation group when you get here for Bare Beginnings, and then that will also go into your first year experience course. It's a requirement for graduation for all of our students, and it's based off of the college or school that your student is in. So if your student is a bio major, they will be in the CLA. Now, if your student's in the College of Health Professions, there are special sections for each college and school. So if you've decided to change colleges and schools throughout the summer, as sometimes that happens, just make sure that you have the right college and school UNV 101 course on your schedule and talk to your advisor about that. You can also notice that AP credits have not come in yet. They have not been processed fully. They get sent at the first week of July. So you've got to give them a little bit of time to get those processed. But as your AP credits are processed, you may see some duplicates on your schedule for this semester. So a great example is AP Government. So if you took AP Government in high school and you got a 5 on the AP test, you may still find that you're registered for Poli-Sci 101 in the fall. That's just because it hasn't come through yet. But as soon as those credits come through, it'll automatically be taken off of your schedule and we will find a replacement for you. Once again, if you notice that nothing has been put in place, this is not the last time that your schedule will be looked at or edited. When you come for Bare Beginnings, we will also have the opportunity to do so. Now, does anyone have any questions for me? You all should have received an email this morning with the link to your advising appointment. These are all Zoom links. The only difference is music. The Associate Dean of Music, Dr. Roberts, is actually out of town today, so he will be reaching out to you individually to set up advising appointments. Everyone else, you should have those. Just please log in at your assigned time. Be patient as you enter the waiting room, and the advisors will get with you shortly. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Grace. And yeah, so we're going to get ready to turn it over to myself. Just give me a second to transition that. But once again, thank you so much, Grace, for all of the work that you do and for planning all of these advising appointments. Alrighty. And I am back. Haven't left very far, but of course, we're adjusting the angles to make sure that we're giving you all a nice, fun, dynamic experience. For our last few minutes together before we jump into academic and advising appointments, one, I want to say, remember that like throughout your journey, we're here for you, right? That's what the Office of Academic and Advising Services, as well as our admissions team, who has been such a big part of your journey, that's what we're all here for. So if you have questions at any point, a great start to getting any question answered is orientation@mercer.edu. That goes directly to myself and Adam Penland, our graduate assistant, and we're constantly kind of checking that, making sure that all of those questions are getting resolved. Another great resource for you is your admissions counselor. I work super closely with all of your admissions counselors to keep them looped in on what the process looks like. But one big distinction is your admissions process has kind of, you've been admitted and you've decided you're coming to Mercer. And now you've kind of transitioned into your new student experience, which falls under academic and advising services. So while we work incredibly closely with the admissions team, know that like Bare Beginnings and orientation, all of that sits under academic and advising services. So if you want direct responses on some of those things, orientation@mercer.edu is going to be your best bet. So what I want to do just for a bit now is I'm going to jump back into these slides. And we're going to talk about Bare Beginnings and next steps, right? So Bare Beginnings, you've heard that tossed around quite a bit. Opening days, fall orientation, it goes by many a name. But one of the things we want to talk about is all of those, right? So opening days, Bare Beginnings, O groups. And ultimately, what that equates to is you are not alone, right? We've got a lot of pieces in place here, and all of those pieces are meant to support y'all. So opening days are, I'm pulling my calendar up to make sure I get the dates exactly correct, but our opening days are actually going to be August 19th and August 20th. So what we've decided to do is that we're having 2 opening days. Last year, with the pandemic, we experimented with having 3 opening days. It typically happened in 1. And what we learned from that experience last year is that adding an additional day or 2 really cuts down on the stress that the experience of moving in could cause, right? We know that while everyone's excited to be on campus, it's also a nerve-wracking time. I was nervous when I started my college experience. My parents were nervous as well, understandably. So what we've done is we've spread out that opening days experience over 2 days. And Housing and Residence Life, if you're living on campus, will be reaching out to y'all with your assigned time. That's going to be based on a myriad of things, as far as like which floor you're living on, which side of the floor you're living on. The goal is to not only kind of spread out the amount of time we're using for people to move in, but also to do it strategically in a way so that way everyone on one floor isn't moving in at the same time in the same building. So y'all have a little more space to be bringing your stuff up the stairs or up the elevator. You have a little more personal help from our peer advisor team and all of our opening day volunteers. So it's going to be spread out over those 2 days. And then from there, on the evening of August 20th, we'll do kind of our Bare Beginnings check-in. At that point, families have left. We'll have some welcome pieces planned for families and guests who are here on the 19th as well as on the 20th. But on the 20th that afternoon, we'll do an event to invite not only our students who have moved in on the 19th and 20th, but also all of our commuter students who are joining us, right? So we'll have a commuter program on the 20th in that afternoon, leading into everyone. And that's where you're going to meet your O group. That's where you're going to meet your peer advisor. So again, your O group, your orientation group, and your peer advisor, y'all are going through this experience together. And it's such a unique thing to Mercer University, to be able to not only have these friends that you're going to meet at orientation be with you for those first 3 days, but also be with you throughout the entirety of your fall semester. So y'all will meet that evening on the 20th. We'll have a fun program planned for y'all. But Bare Beginnings officially will kick off actually on the morning of August 21st. So that morning, myself, President Underwood, members of the Mercer community will all gather together in Hawkins Arena. You'll go there as an O group with your peer advisor. So that way you're not kind of lost and figuring out where things are. We'll all join in Hawkins Arena. We'll have a big kickoff for Bare Beginnings. And then from there, Bare Beginnings will really take off. And there's so much that happens during Bare Beginnings. There is things like Tony mentioned as far as technology sessions and a focus on the summer reading and discussing that, making sure that you have everything you need in regard to parking decals and bear cards and all of those pieces. There's the social aspect of Bare Beginnings, right? Getting to know your classmates, getting to know your O group, getting to know people in your college or school, getting to know people out of your college or school. There's the academic advising appointment piece that'll happen that weekend as well, right? Where you'll make the transition from meeting with an academic advisor like you will do today to meeting your academic advisor. And that is going to be the UNV instructor and academic advisor who is paired with your peer advisor. So they also will be joining you in this experience throughout your first semester. As well as we have Convocation, which is such a great and meaningful experience and tradition that y'all get to have together to kick off the beginning of your academic journey. We've got a lot of fun social activities. We've got a lot of fun, productive workshops. It's jam-packed. It is incredibly important that you are there the 20th and the 21st and the 21st, the 22nd, and the 23rd. Those are our 3 days of Bare Beginnings, and they lead you into the start of classes on August 24th. So we're with you all of those. The 23rd, the very last thing we do is Bear Fair, which members of our orientation leadership team mentioned. It's an amazing experience to just meet so many clubs and community members and organizations. It is the ultimate end cap to your Bare Beginnings experience as far as getting plugged in, starting to meet and make those connections with the things you want to be involved with. And one of the pieces I like to mention, and I'll mention this again to y'all in August, is cast a wide net, right? The hope is that you come in first year, you've got that wide net, and as you progress through your college career, you kind of focus in on the things you want to be focused on, but don't be afraid to try different things. Don't be afraid to take on new experiences. Again, UNV 101, Grace talked about it a bit, but it's that first year seminar experience. Make sure it's on your schedule when you have your advising appointment. The beauty of UNV 101 is it's the one class that regardless of college or school, every Mercer student will take, right? And the cool thing about that is that It's a ubiquitous experience across the board where we can make sure that we're talking about such important things like diversity, equity, and inclusion, like Title IX and sexual assault, like mental health and how to best take care of yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, but also topics like how to register for classes, how to build a 4-year academic plan, how to get involved with the Center for Career and Professional Development early to make sure that you're thinking long-term about your goals beyond Mercer University. So that UNV 101 experience is going to carry you through the fall. Of course, there are tons of other resources all available to you if you check out our website, aas.mercer.edu. Other than that, it's 9:57 now. I'm going to be emailing y'all shortly with a couple of links of just some content that we've pieced together. One of them that we didn't get to this morning that I mentioned was Bear Talk, right? Where members of the peer advisor team will kind of introduce you to some concept and some lingo. So that way, when you arrive to Mercer in the fall and someone says, hey, I'll meet you at the UC, you know, they're talking about the University Center, right? There's a lot of little lingo that we want to make sure that you kind of getting the ball rolling so you feel as comfortable and familiar as possible upon arriving. The other thing that I'm going to be doing is, depending on your college or school, I will send a list of all of our academic deans meetings, and you need to watch the appropriate deans meeting for your college or school. On the advising letter that I sent you, that college or school will be listed. It'll either be the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, the School of Engineering, the Stetson Hatcher School of Business, the College of Health Professions, the Tift College of Education, or the Townsend School of Music. All 6 of those links will be in this email as well, and I am trusting y'all as very, very promising, excited new Bears to watch that Dean's meeting. It's important. It's important for you to get that information before you arrive here in the fall. So please, please do that. I'm trusting you all to take care of that piece. Otherwise, for the last time today, at least, I'm going to highly encourage you to reach out if you have questions. We're here for you. We're here to serve. We're here to make sure that you have a fantastic transition into your Mercer University experience. Again, my name is Pablo Valentin. It has been a delight to be with y'all. I'm going to be in my office here to answer questions throughout the day. So if you need anything, reach out. Orientation@mercer.edu is the place to do that. Enjoy your advising appointments. Ask all the questions. Make sure that you're getting the answers that you're needing to get before we move on to our next step. And know that between now and August, we're still here for you. And we're excited to see you when you arrive in person. Thanks again for joining us. Go Bears. And I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a good one, y'all.